The NBA is going to try to come back and finish out this season in one way or another. That leaves many questions for all of us. One question we do not have to worry about is if LaMarcus Aldridge is going to come back and play. The answer is no. Go to projectspurs.com, read the latest article by Paul Garcia that dives into what that means for the Spurs and what all the different scenarios are for the Spurs in those final 8 games. Well, this isn't the first time that the Spurs went into battle without their big gun this season. Actually, 10 games this year without LaMarcus Aldridge. 6 of those games came in the final 7, so the Spurs really did finish out this season playing without LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, any way you want to slice it, losing LaMarcus Aldridge is going to hurt. 2 big reasons why. One, he's a walking bucket. This year, he was putting up 18 points per game, 18.9 matter of fact, shooting 49% from the field, taking about 15 shots per game in about 33 minutes. He played 53 games on this season. He was able to get his sweet spots going for us many games in and out this year, and he was just a consistent rock for us whenever he was on the floor. He even started taking a couple threes later on in the season. What LaMarcus Aldridge was doing especially well this year was defending that rim. 87 blocks on the season. To put that in perspective for you, last year was his career high at 107, 20 blocks away. The year before that, he had 90. The year before that, 88 blocks, and he had 87 on this year. He was currently 10th in the league when we let out on hiatus. 14 double-doubles, 7.4 rebounds per game, and that's really where the San Antonio Spurs are going to miss LaMarcus Aldridge, is on the defensive side of the ball, because the way that he was able to protect the rim and change shots is on another level, and without that, that might be one of the biggest holes that we try to fill moving forward into Orlando. LaMarcus Aldridge is out. Well, that means that DeMar DeRozan can take more shots and score more points. No, sorry to tell you, that's not what happens. Though, was able to keep his 17 points per game. His efficiency went down just a little bit. I'll tell you what really did happen. DeMar DeRozan put it on his shoulders to get everyone else involved. His assists went from 5.3 to 7.8 in those games. It's a testament to his character as a guy who didn't want the extra shots but wanted everyone else to get better. Now, DeJounte Murray, on the other hand, was able to take these opportunities and run with it. You can tell that the Spurs really let him take advantage of LaMarcus Aldridge not being in the starting lineup with him. DeJounte Murray, you know, he went from taking 8.9 shots per game to 13.2. Now, he was able to keep his efficiency at 47%, so his shot selection didn't change. He kept taking a lot of really good shots at the rim, mid-range, and so on, but he cranked it up a notch when LaMarcus Aldridge went out. Derek White in particularly, his stat sheet went up in all of the ways that you want it to. Not in the points column, but he got more steals, blocks, assists, rebounds per game. He was just being more aggressive and getting everyone else involved and trying to impact the game in other ways besides that weren't on the stat sheet. You can tell that the sense of urgency was there in the last 7 or 8 games of the season when both of our bigs were out. I mean, Rudy Gay turned it on too. We were waiting on Rudy Gay all year, and he came up when we needed him. Patty Mills was our rock all season. I've been saying he's been our 3rd best player all year long. Nobody benefited when LaMarcus Aldridge went out like Trey Lyles did. But what really pushed Trey Lyles out of the atmosphere was when Jokab also went down against Orlando. He was shoved into a situation, and we put all the weight on his shoulders, all the minutes on his shoulders at that position, and he went berserk. I'm gonna have to put this stat differential up so you can try to help me find what planet Trey Lyles landed on. When he's playing with LaMarcus Aldridge, for the most part in this season, that's a huge sample size, 57 games. He's averaging about 5 attempts per game, 3 threes a game, 2.5 threes a game. So he's not getting a lot of attempts when LaMarcus Aldridge is in the game. He's shooting about 43% from the field, about 36% from 3, not too bad on either side, but he's averaging about 5.5 points per game. When LaMarcus went out and Jokab went out, he went nuts and the Spurs let him go. So he went from taking 5 shots per game to taking 12 shots per game. His efficiency went up from 43 to 46. His 3-point percentage went up from 33 to 44. He started taking almost 6 threes a game. So he basically doubled his workload. He went berserk on the stat sheet as well, about 5 5.8 rebounds per game, a 1.5 assists, 1.5 steals, a block, all under 2 personal fouls a game, and averaging 15.6 points per game. He went from 5.5 points to 15.6. So Trey Lyles did show that he can carry the load offensively when LaMarcus Aldridge is out, and he can do it efficiently. But he definitely went berserk in these last 6 games of the season. Last 6 out of 7 games of the season. This next part is my favorite, though. With the talent that we have on the perimeter, on the offensive side of the floor, we need lanes. We need lanes to the basket. DeMar DeRozan needs them. DeJounte, Derek White, Lonnie Walker. All these players thrive when they're on their way to the rim. And Trey and Jokab take that as a personal responsibility to make that happen. Setting hard screens, getting other teams' bigs out of the way. They make it all happen for the San Antonio Spurs, and that's going to be key if we're going to get into the paint when we go into Orlando and into the future for the San Antonio Spurs. So let's look at a few examples where our bigs struggled when LaMarcus Aldridge was out. Well, first, let's talk about Utah. You're seeing the guards on the Utah Jazz get anything they want, right? What you're also going to see now is the shot chart comparison for Utah against the Spurs in a game with LaMarcus Aldridge and a game without LaMarcus Aldridge. I want you to take a look at those numbers of points in the paint, field goal percentage for Utah, and just look at all those green dots. That tells the story right there. Now, what we're going to see here against Chicago is Zach LaVine kind of targeting Jokab Poeltl in crunch time. But here you can see where a guard can really take advantage of Jokab on the perimeter if they're creating the switches. Zach LaVine does a good job of just targeting him here and just going right at him. Now, I like the one-on-one matchup of Jokab and Zach LaVine. I think this night was just Zach LaVine's night. I think Jokab can do just as well of a job as contesting shots out in the perimeter and getting beat and recovering back to the rim as anyone else on our squad. But this night, it hurt us. And Jokab almost made a game-winning block here at the end.
Circle, beating by a step, runs into the lane, shot no, and a whistle and a foul, I believe. It was a late whistle.
The ref made a call on that. I don't see it. I see verticality. But Jokab can hold his own, being switched up on guards, off ball screens, and things like that. Jokab does a pretty good job. Now, Indiana might have a top 4 front court in the NBA in Sabonis and Turner. In my eyes, Trey Lyles does not back down to this challenge here. Here's a stretch where Sabonis goes at Trey for about 3-4 possessions in a row, and he does get the better of Trey Lyles and he gets the bucket to go, but Trey makes him work and makes him earn every single inch of those buckets, and that's the kind of effort that we need. And when Lyles played a lot of small ball 5 for the Spurs here at the tail end of the season, so you're going to see him get taken advantage of now and then, and that's kind of where team defense comes into play in having his help side and trying to help him out when it comes to him guarding big guys. So we're going to need Trey Lyles and the team to communicate well, because LaMarcus does do a really good job of communicating through all this, and he's just a defensive leader that we're really going to miss. Why don't you head over to projectspurs.com to check out more of their great Spurs content. Also, you can head over to robtrejr.com/buckingspurs to check out everything else I got going on. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below, the like button down below, hit that little notification bell for more Spurs content coming your way. I hope you enjoyed this film room. Go Spurs, go.